I just have a fruit. Morning.
Morning.
I just have
You
a
can have a
fruit.
seat there and put on the
Which one?
That's a
Don't you want money?
strange. That's a
Okay.
strange seat. On
Hmm?
the phone?
Hmm?
On the phone?
No, on the headphone.
Oh. That good?
No, I'm not
Oh.
sure. Um,
That good?
no, I'm not sure. Mhm. Because he's in the phone.
It's only a microwave.
Are you hearing me now? Let me know if you're hearing me now. Are you hearing me now? Not hearing on YouTube either? Jacqueline! Jacqueline, listen. I'm under pressure, tremendous pressure. Okay, so work with me. I told you to remind me yesterday when I came off to check. You did not. So do not blame me. I have a million things sorting out all at once. Yeah, trying to get children back to school, talking to mothers who need jobs. So bear with me, all right? Morning, Shante. Have you checked in with everybody? Morning, Valerie. Rita, good morning. Coloramel, good morning. Yeah, I noticed. That's why I muted it. Morning, Marlene. Morning, Lisa. Good morning, Astrid. Who else is here? Rachel, good morning. Christelle. Good morning, Jackie Chaiton. Okay, you hearing me now? I gotta make sure because it just keeps on muting me. I don't know why. So I'm gonna have to have the professionals come in and sort it out. But like I said, of course, this morning we have in our company Liz Forsyth, and of course she'll tell us more about herself and the foundation that was launched yesterday and very timely, might I add, with everything that's been going on. Of course, for the past couple of days, you've seen me reaching out to you guys for help to assist, mothers with children, and of course, no other form of support. And you guys have been so, so, so amazing. The amount of you that reached out, and like I said yesterday, the mother herself reached out and was just so overwhelmed by all, everybody who reached out. And most cases, like I said, people didn't even care, didn't want to know why, how, who, just wanted to help. And I want to say special thanks. Like I always say, when we good, we're really good, and we know when to come together for a good cause. And I want to shout out Bobby again. I see out of yesterday's efforts to help one person, you've now turned it into something else where you have numerous folks coming on board to help with, sending children back to school. Then one of the things that the young mother was appreciative of, not only was she given, material help, but also the opportunity to get a job, because that's what she wanted most of everything, because you can't keep on asking everybody every day to help me, help me, help me. You have to be able to help yourself, and that is what she really wanted, and that opportunity to help herself and her children. And guys, when we're doing these things, could you all do me a big favor and not ask me where is the father? I wouldn't know. And honestly, I don't even ask. Because if the father was present, they wouldn't have to reach out to, like my mother would say, John Public to seek assistance. It's pretty obvious the fathers are not playing their role, and they're not stepping up to the plate to assist the way they should for whatever reason. You know, that reason is between mother and father. They're going to have to trash that out. I don't get involved in that part. But if I can help, and if you can help, where the father is really not any of our business. All right, so let them handle that part of it. When we can help, we help, and hopefully things fall in place for these mothers who come out so time after time seeking our assistance. So without any further ado, like I said, we have Miss Liz
Forsyth
Forsyth
in
in
studio.
studio. So
So
let me say good morning to her and welcome her to the show. Good morning, welcome, good to have you. Good to have you here with us at Power 95.
good morning to you, Aruna. It's a pleasure
Come
to
a
be
little
here.
closer, you far a little bit far. Come on, come on
Yeah, I'm
more.
saying it's a pleasure to be here this morning and to chat with you and your listeners and viewers, because I believe most people might be on Facebook or something, or some live something.
Thank you so very much for the opportunity, and thank you as well for your assistance in my little project that I have going on, trying to assist these young mothers who for whatever reason find themselves in these situations. I am really, really grateful for you. So apart from what we're going to speak about this morning, that being the Dorcas Foundation, tell us a little bit about yourself and of course how you came about into this, how you came into this whole thing.
Well, I have been a teacher all my life, a principal for about 30 years, and I've always been engaged in helping people, helping children, and of course, I'm also deeply involved in the religious area as well. And I pay quite a lot of attention, and in recent times, to trying to be obedient to the scriptures. What the word says that we should do. We should be kind, we should be helpful, forgiving, all of that. That which can help society.
Mhm.
So, uh, over a few years, we've been involved in a prayer group which spent many mornings praying for our country, all aspects of our country, for families, for the government, for the parliament, for RGPF, name it. We just pray. And of course, I'm happy to tell you that you were someone
Yes.
that we've been praying for too.
When you told me that, I was like,
Yeah,
wow,
we pray
thanks
for
so
a lot of
much.
people. We pray
I was
for
so amazed yesterday when she said, listen, you are on our prayer list. And listen, prayers is never too much.
yes.
The more you get it, the more you can, really feel good and, be protected. So thank you so much for including me
You're welcome.
in your prayers. Now, in terms of, this foundation and of course your mandate to help, to give back, to be of service, how did the idea of putting this foundation or organization together came about?
Well, actually, we elevated from just praying for needs to studying the scriptures. So every morning, we spend some time, like about a half an hour, having one of our sisters share on scripture. And one morning, one of our sisters was sharing on how Jesus was, moved with compassion and how he helped people. And she spoke to needs that she saw in her community and said that, we should not just be praying or just believing in faith, but we should actually put on working clothes on our faith. We should
Mhm.
put our faith to work. And that is how it came about. And we began to pray about it. And then another sister said, let's call it the Dorcas Foundation. Because in the scriptures, in the book of Acts to be exact, chapter 9, there is the story of this godly woman who spent all of her time. She was a widow, by the way. Her husband had died, and she spent time in sewing and making garments and so on for individuals who were in need. And so that was how the Dorcas Foundation really came about.
Just stick a pin for a second. Guys, are we still echoing? Let me know. They're saying that they were hearing a little echo. Let me just make sure that is not is there still an echo? Are you still hearing it? Are you still hearing it now? Okay, I'm seeing yes and I'm saying no, we're good now. Which one is it? Petra says no, we're good now. Marlene says yes, yes. Are we echoing or are we good? Okay, it's not bad. Okay. Let me know if you're hearing the if you guys are hearing any echo again. All right. Okay. All right. So let's try again. We're good now. All right. So yeah. So you were saying, and that's how the Dorcas Foundation come about. So talk to us about that.
Well, we continued on the lines of praying and, asking God to give us the direction where we should go, how we should go about doing things and so forth. And we began our actual first event by going up to Carriacou to meet with ladies in Carriacou, where we had what we called a conference entitled Meet the Seventh Man. So we were able to share on that portion of scripture with those sweet ladies, as well as some other young men and their pastors who came along. And we had a wonderful time of prayer and sharing and praying and so forth. And then we moved back into Grenada and continued praying. Excuse me. And then the need, I don't know from where it came or from how it came about, but people began to show up, requesting help. And that's how we began actually helping to provide things for people who indicated that they needed help. And we've helped a number of persons so far with foodstuff, we've helped with clothing, we've helped with things needed for persons in the residential home, that's Hills Zoom Home. And we've helped recently with the school promotion, where we were able to provide school bags and school supplies for a number of children. And we decided that it was time to, you know, do the launch, make it official. And that's why we had the launch yesterday.
So you're not echoing, you're just low. So you need to come a little closer or project your voice a little more because you're lower than I am. Yeah. So you've yesterday was the launch of the Dorcas Foundation. In terms of looking ahead, what exactly are the aims and of course plans for future?
Well, we have a number of things that are in our mandate, so to speak, because we have already prepared a document that we have sent to the registry to be registered. However, there are things that we propose to do shortly. We want to be able to meet with parents, both fathers and mothers, and try to provide some opportunity to help them to understand ways and means of helping to parent or nurture their children, especially now that our values and virtues are being challenged. We also hope to help with the schools, in various ways. However, we can give support. We want to do that. We will advocate for the development of society, and we have a concern about the violence that we saw among the youth. We've been praying a lot about that, and I'm so happy to see how the carnival went, because we prayed a lot for carnival. I know there are other people praying, but we are sure that when we spend that entire night, Sunday night, just praying that God's will be done, that the carnival will be safe, and we saw that God did it. So we are concerned about doing those things, praying for our country, praying for our government, praying for parliament, both government and opposition. We believe that if people work together, our nation can thrive. We are also looking to at least get involved in some of the national events that that's taking place. We want to have our voice heard, our concerns raised, and that sort of thing. So that's what we want to do going
Now,
forward.
as a teacher and of course a principal for a number of years, I really love to get your take on the issue of missing and absent fathers in the homes of in their children's lives, and how much of an impact does that have on the children's development and of course the ability to do well in school and out of school.
Well, of course, fathers are, according to the Bible, the head of the home. And once they are missing, it obviously leaves a vacuum. And it's very, very clear that for the boys in particular, when their fathers are not there to provide that guidance and that sort of iconic figure that they can follow, they can fall, prey. And we are concerned about that. Girls also need their dads because girls gravitate to their fathers, and when fathers are absent, they would gravitate to the
Next
other
available
men so
male.
that they can receive that love and care and protection that they should have gotten from their dad. So it concerns us a lot that our fathers, are absent. But there are some fathers who are very, very present,
Present.
and we appreciate that. I grew up with my father. My mother was sick and wasn't able to take care of us. And my father took care of us. And sometimes it bothers me that you hear of some negative things between fathers and their children. My father was totally different. He nurtured us. My father used to bathe all of us, as children growing up.
And
And there
nothing
was nothing threatening, so
or uncomfortable about it.
yes, it is that concern, and we want to address those kinds of things with our parents.
So how do we go about doing that? Because as much as we're talking to the fathers, we still have a lot of young mothers, some who get pregnant in school or immediately after leaving school. So there's a lot of young, inexperienced mothers, and again with no support. Because the lady, of course, that you assisted with, that was one of the things she mentioned that there was no help or support from family. And imagine being that young and having four children with no support from a father, no support from community, no support from family. I mean, that could be very, very depressing. And you see, that's why you see so many people talking about, being depressed in an emotional state. How do you think we can address that?
Let me just first say, she's a beautiful person. She's intelligent. We had just a brief conversation, and you can see how her heart's desire is to advance, is to empower herself and her
Mhm.
children. I just wanted to stick that in. I believe that if we really and truly embrace opportunities to share what we have gleaned from our own experience and, of course, from praying and following the direction of the Holy Spirit, I believe we can contribute. So, one of the things we plan to do is to be able to access PTAs, to access schools, so we can go in. We also want to encourage the parachurch organizations that are available on island. We have ISCF, we have Adult and Teen Challenge. We also have Youth for Christ. There are a number of parachurch organizations. And if we can help to motivate them to get involved, I believe that that kind of support will augur well for our schools, for our children, because we really want to bring back the values, value-based education, value-based studies. And if we do that, our nation will be better for it.
Mhm, mhm. And you mentioned PTA, and I remember, going to PTA with my niece, and I would notice the hall is usually filled with mothers, women, and you'll see a sprinkling of men. You could literally count on one hand how many fathers you see showing up to PTAs or any other school event. It's always the mothers you see at the forefront. How again can we get fathers to understand and that there is a need for them to be present, not just present to provide, but present, visibly present in after school activities or in school activities.
Well, truly, I have seen that quite often,
Mhm.
in my tenure of being in the teaching profession. You are quite right. The hall is always filled with the mothers. But there are some faithful fathers, and if we can get these fathers to be motivated sufficiently, like pulling them together and maybe offering to them opportunities and ideas as to how they can encourage the other fathers to be involved, I think it can work because I remember in my experience, um, we got our fathers to come into their own fathers' PTA meeting. And there were quite a few fathers, as well as
No, that's
helping.
a good idea. FETA for
Fathers do
fathers
not
only.
like men, do not like women to organize things for them. So if you can find a father or two within your system, for example, the Dorcas Foundation seems to only have women. We wish we can get the men to come on board, and if they do, then we can reach out to more men. But getting back to the fathers, if activities are organized by fathers, by those who are
Mhm,
present for the other fathers, I think it would go a long way.
mhm, mhm. I think that's a good way. Um, Someone alive says, I remember my father telling me I don't have time for PTA meetings. Your mother will go to them too.
Because you see, there is a wrong concept. I think there's a
Mhm,
misconception
mhm.
of PTA meeting. PTA meeting says parent teacher,
Teachers.
parent teacher. It's both. So it's a coming together. It's a working together.
It's not
Of
mother teacher. Mhm,
exactly. So if that concept can change by more involvement of fathers through fathers who are already involved,
mhm.
I think it can work.
I was about to make that point. First, you have to be involved in the child's lives because a lot of the time they're not, so they don't even know if there's a PTA. And as a young mother reached out again yesterday, and she was saying she literally have to be begging the father to make some sort of contribution with school reopening on Monday, and he's offered another person, another family, taking care of that family that is not his biologically, but his children are here wanting and they're nowhere to be found. And it's a common cry I hear all the time. And I don't know if at some point we have to get to a stage where we understand it's not about you, it's about the child and how important co-parenting is. Because a lot of people seem to think that, okay, we're no longer together, so that means I'm done with you and I'm done with child or children as well. We have to get to a point where we can co-parent respectfully and understand that, hey, we may not like each other right now, but we have one thing in common, which is a child. So we have to put aside our differences. We could probably cuss each other out on the phone after, but make sure that the child's needs are met and that you're present. You're able to pick up the phone and say, hey, Tom, so and so has a PTA tomorrow. So and so have some. Can you pick so and so up? Can you have some after school? So and so. But that seems to be lacking. It's like once the relationship breaks down, everything breaks down with it.
Yes. There is a song that says the children are the broken pieces of the home falls apart. If the significant adults in the lives of the children would understand that the most important person in that circle is the child, then things will begin to change. But many times we adults think that we
Mhm.
are the important
The
one, but we are
egos, the
not.
egos.
We are not. The child is the most important one because we have to nurture the children. Even Jesus Christ himself said that. We have to bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. And you remember the Bible talks about Jesus' disciples. When he saw the mothers bringing the children to Christ, they tried to hinder them. And Jesus said, no, 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 no. Do not hinder them. Let them come. And he took them in his arms. He placed them on his knees and he blessed them. So even in the Bible, there is an indication that there is a general tendency to hinder the little ones. But I wish that those ideas can change and we can really come together. And of course, it would come through advocacy, it would come through talking, it would come through training, it would come through discussion and things like that. So I really pray going forward that we, as a Dorcas Foundation, will be able to contribute positively to helping families, to do better.
So before we go on to more of the foundation, someone here is saying you have a chance to reach the men in the home who have to work even when they don't, saying they're busy and not seeing the importance of being there for their children. Another person says you have a chance to reach the men in the home who probably think PTA is a waste of time, but how do you reach those who have totally abandoned their children?
But again, that's why, I kind of try to, refer to it's critical for us to begin to have a change of mind, a change of attitude. And it does not come just like that. These people have to be reached out to. Are they willing, though, to be able to, want that change. Some people are stuck in their ways that they're not
Very
willing to
much.
change. So we can do our best and try to talk them out of that attitude. And if you know if their hearts are changed, if men's hearts are changed, we'll see a big change in the
But the
society.
ego is one of the things that we have to let go. There's this animosity between, I mean, and I often, and like I said to someone not so long ago, how about just going back to the place when y'all just met for a second and how wonderful it was, and the love, everything, I love you, the did it was flowing. Now, for whatever reason, the relationship is no more. At least can we maintain some level of respect, knowing that there is a child or children involved? Because I think so much. I think the problem is the adults get so consumed in their personal grievances towards each other that they completely forget that this child is like almost collateral damage. You're just there, and I'm going to use this for whatever reason to either call you out every time as being a deadbeat. And now you calling me a deadbeat, I'm going to show you I'm a deadbeat. So it's almost like there's this constant war between parent, mother, and father that we constantly at this place. So how can we bridge that gap? How, I mean, I know you mentioned having more sessions. I'd love to see more meetings, discussions, and inviting men, like you said. Men don't like being told what to do, but having sessions with just men, young men, older men, fathers who've been there, and can talk from example because they've been there for their children and seen the outcome. I think it is a really a holistic effort that we need as an island, and it just can't be one little group of people trying to help.
The whole fact of the matter is we cannot ever forget that there are biblical principles that would help us to achieve those goals. Uh, we cannot do some things in our own selves because sometimes we are not, we don't have the strength, we don't have the will, as you say, to do certain things. And sometimes society doesn't really encourage you to because they make men feel that if they do certain things, they are weak, but they're not. If you take responsibility for what you have to do, you are strong. So we have to try to change the perception that people have, that men have, that like they could just go about, have five, six, seven different women and just have children with
All over
them
the
and turn their
place.
back. This is absolutely wrong. The Bible says that if you do not take care of your household, you are worse than an infidel. And so men have to understand that there are principles for proving your manhood. And,
Mhm.
and if that can be, you know, taught to our boys as they grow up, then we are definitely going to have many more positive about family and other good values and
So
virtues.
there's a lot of learned behaviors you have to unlearn, and there's a lot of generational issues because I've often heard men say themselves, "Well, my father didn't mind me and watch me.
Mhm.
I come out good." So it's almost like, okay, well, my father didn't take care of me, so now I'm under no obligation to take care of my child because my mother took care of me and I'm okay. But I'm thinking, and like I said to one not so long ago, but you're living the perfect example. You know what it felt like not to have your child, your father present in your life. Don't you think your child feels the same way? You weren't at an advantage, you were at a disadvantage. So you're turning around doing the same thing, repeating the cycle, putting your child at a disadvantage, and you using the excuse, well, your father didn't take care of you, so it's and you're fine. So it's like no biggie. Your son will be fine as well.
And trust me, Aruna, this is actually some of the things that we have had to deal with in this last week, where some boys, little boys, have been so hurt that they don't even want to go to school because they're thinking that their father is not even bothering them, thinking about them. And we have had to pray and believe God to bring change, in that kind of situation, even to speak to the heart of the Father, touch his heart, and it's sad, but it is a reality. And I'm hoping that as the foundation, as mothers ourselves who understand certain things, and for those of us who actually did not have a father in our lives, thankfully I had a father in my life, although I had a sick mother. I realize that it can be a challenge for some men to kind of live up to God's expectation. They think that they have to do things to please other men. And it's sad. We are not supposed to be men pleasers, the Bible says. We are supposed to please the Lord who made us in his own image and likeness.
And the only thing is not sometimes it's not just being not present. There are fathers who are in the homes, physically present, living together, but they're still not present because everything is your mother will handle that. Go to your mother, talk to your mother, let your mother do this, let your mother do that. So while they're physically in the home, they're emotionally absent. They're not bonding with their child or children. And I know there's a lot of folks who can relate to this that they had their father in their home, but it's almost like he was not there, just was like a father figure and the person that your mother will threaten to send you to if you did something bad. But other than that, he played no part whatsoever. Everything was left up to go talk to your mother, let your mother do that, let your mother do this, let your mother handle this. So it still boils down to having and playing an active role and not just saying, hey, I provide and that's enough.
And of course, that comes with, again, discussion, sitting around and talk things through, facing the reality, facing the issues that are present. And, if we do that more often and we can provide ideas and ways and means of interacting with children, that's the best thing. I attended the funeral of my cousin a few days ago, and his daughter said one of the things she remembered the most was actually playing with her dad as a little girl growing up. Fathers maybe do not understand how critical it is to, spend quality time with your children. And of course, this thing in our hands here isn't helping at all.
Hmm.
It isn't helping. It's taking up too much of our time. So I pray that if we have any fathers who are listening, that they would, you know, take some of the little advice
Hmm.
given here, and spend more time with the
Spend
children.
more time. Listen, sometimes that means the world to a child and actually giving them some money in their hand or giving them an ice cream, like just being there. Let me go and kick some ball. Let me go on the beach. Let's just so letting them, you asking how they're doing, showing interest in them. It does so much for a child's confidence, and I don't understand why it's so easy to just father a child and walk away and not even turn back. Don't know if that child ate the day before, if they're eating today. You don't have any clue, and you're okay going on with your life like normal. I don't know. I just see something as being really wrong with that. But again, your foundation, of course, is playing a pivotal role in at least trying to bring awareness, and which is
Mm-hmm.
important, not just helping people with, like I said, the material stuff, but bringing awareness. Like I said, we have a lot of behaviors, learned behaviors that we need to unlearn. A lot of things we need to change. The way we approach the way we do things, there's a lot we need to do. So in terms of support, someone is asking how can anyone support the foundation or be part of the foundation?
Well, we welcome any form of support that we can get because it's just a few women who have been, pulling our resources
Mhm.
together, any excess that we may have. We also have, relatives and friends abroad. So we told them, this is what is happening, and they've been reaching out to us. We also have individuals who actually live in the diaspora who are part of it. So we started off with what we call the National Prayer Warriors team, and we can be contacted if anybody is interested. We can be contacted. They can contact me on WhatsApp. My number is 419-5177 as the president, and we can talk.
And what sort of support do you need?
Well, right now we do need some support for children going back to school. We need support for persons who have been affected by the freak storm that occurred a few weeks ago. We have um, a few individuals from a family in St. John's that we are also trying to help. We give some support to the Hillview Home in St. John. We've been giving, necessary things like diapers and, whatever um, can help them, sanitary things, toiletries, whatever. Um, we also have been very concerned as well about persons who are sick and are at home. There are many people that are sick and that are at home and have no help. And people have been reaching out to us. It's sad because sometimes right in our vicinity, there are people in need who are sick, paralytic, cannot move, and need help, and you don't know. So people, as we have been helping, people have been reaching out to us, and sometimes I cry because I said, God, I wish I could give more help, you
Yeah.
know. So I just want to let people know that they can reach out to me, and I'll see what I can do. I can contact our other members and so on, and see how we can help in whatever small way we can.
And what's your number again?
It's 419-5177.
Do you have any social media pages or handles or anything that we can find you on as yet?
My social media, my Facebook page is Liz
Forsyth.
Forsyth.
Okay. So I hope at some point you can get into, having a page specifically for
Dorcas
the
Foundation.
Dorcas Foundation. So all information will be posted there, and they'll have somebody, if anybody reaches out to help, will be able to respond and direct them. So that will assist in taking.
That's critical because when you post it on your page,
Mhm.
one of our sisters who is actually living in Carriacou saw the post and sent it to our chat. Or we do have a WhatsApp chat, and they sent it to that chat, and that is how we were spurred, to helping because we believe that as soon as we can help, we should. It is critical. Timing is critical to prevent and to avoid, negative. So
Totally agree.
we try to help as soon as we can.
Totally agree. Almost about time to wrap up, so I'll give you a couple of seconds to closing words, or of course to tell us about the foundation again and how we can find you.
As I said, we are just a group of women who have been involved in prayer for our nation over a long period of time, and we were challenged, to take our prayer forward rather than just trust God by faith only. We should put our prayer into action, and that's what we have been doing. And we were able to help in a few cases, and we are grateful to God that He has afforded us this opportunity. We will continue to advocate as best as we can, for the benefit of our nation, especially our youth and children. We will do whatever we can by the grace of God, to live godly lives and to encourage others to do the same.
Fantastic. Well, of course, whenever you feel the need to anything happening new, anything you need to be information you need to disseminate, feel free to let me know. I'll be more than happy to do that. And of course, for those asking, folks are always asking who, because people want to make sure that when they send their little resources, that it gets to the people in need. And always asking me for organizations and evidence that they've sent it. So there are people who are willing to help, especially out of the diaspora. But I mean, everybody works hard, so you don't want to send your stuff or send money or whatever it is, and it ends up somewhere else that it's not supposed to be. It goes directly towards the cause at that point in time. So I'm happy that you ladies have come together to form this foundation. So of course I can now direct folks in your direction, because it's something you need, that we really really need. And I always say government can't do it all. They can't do it all. We can play our little parts. Each one help one. It will make so much more of a difference, because for someone who says they've been running from ministry to ministry trying to seek assistance, and just putting it out there in less than 2 days, and was able to get everything they needed for their children, after running here for almost 2 months trying to get help, and was able to get it in 2 days. It says a lot that we can really come together and assist people in need. It's a good feeling. It's such a good feeling to give back, and not expect anything in return, and not put a camera in somebody's face. It's a really good feeling. So I want to say thank you so much again to everyone who has contributed in one way or another. And remember, guys, of course, you can contact Ms. Forsyth. She'll be more than happy to assist you. And of course, in you doing that, she'll be able to assist more people in need. So thank you so much to everybody on the live. Thank you so much for checking in. And we'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place again. Thank you so much, Ms. Forsyth. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
You are welcome. And that just about concludes our show for today. We'll be back next week, like I said, with so much more, guys. Until then, stay powered up. Got some more bills to pay. And of course, your world entertainment news that's still up. Thank you so much to Western Union for making this segment possible as well. Have yourselves a great Thursday. We'll see you all back next week inside the room. Thank you.